Hello, whoo, or should I say good morning? Good morning, 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 or wherever this is finding you. It is Tuesday, August 11th, and I'm so happy to have made my way into your inbox. We've got a lot to get into. Welcome to This Morning with Tiff Potter. This is your daily companion audio friend. It's things you want to know, need to know, can use later. I often say that if you have to do the human things that are required of you every day and you want a little bit of company while doing that, press play. It's rooted in Cincinnati. It's made for wherever you are, and I really pride myself in making audio that feels like company, okay? I have left you on a little bit of a cliffhanger. This show has gone on a 2-month hiatus in the summer while I acclimate and readjust to a completely different life than the one that I was living in October of last year to January of this year to where I'm finding you now towards the end of summer, which is not a subject that I take very lightly. I want to take ownership of some of the changes and decisions that I've made with this show. And of course, I will fill you in on kind of where we're at, what's going on, what's been happening, and maybe some life updates in between other than just the typical show and work updates. That's all on the horizon. But before we go anywhere, first and foremost, I am checking in on you. You know, this may have left you with a little bit of an audio companion hole over the last couple of months, and I want to take ownership of that in a second, but I do want to know where you're at. What are your updates? You know, if you are finding this show maybe in its current entity, like where are you? How's your summer been? What's top of mind? I have been thinking of you quite a bit lately, and I know you've got a lot going on, especially where we are in this moment right now, rooted in Cincinnati. We're getting ready to go back to school, and by the last time that we connected, we were really just getting out of school. So how was your summer? Did you check off things from your summer bucket list? You know, we don't really have a bucket list trying new things problem. Sometimes we just have a maybe we'll do that later problem, and it's hard for you to circle back. So I'm wondering, did you check anything off the bucket list? Did you have any fun summer romances? Did you take advantage of any outdoor Cincinnati activities? I mean, we did experience some really bizarre wild weather here. In fact, at the day of this recording, the tornado sirens were going off like crazy in my neighborhood, and I'm sure that's the same for you in Cincinnati. Yeah, what did you get into? Did you go to any summer theme parks? Did you go on any summer trips? All of that is severely welcomed and much, much, much missed in this drought of a couple months that we've had off. So let's actually get into that, and I look forward to hearing from you if you want to comment and be a part of the show. If you are looking if you're looking for a deeper connection, I often say leave me a voice note on Instagram at the Tiff 2Fs Potter like the wizard. So you can tell I am glitzed and glammed today. I just got home from work, and that's I guess that's where we're going to start with today's conversation is work. So first and foremost, I left us on a little bit of a cliffhanger when we connected the last time, and it's really because I was still gathering pieces of my life jigsaw puzzle and putting them together in what this was going to look like. And I'm the type of person that when that happens, when life quakes happen, everything else kind of gets stripped away while I get my footing and my grounding. But I am the queen of circling back, and I always do. So I do appreciate your patience. I do want to take ownership. You know, I have absolutely no excuse for you as to where and why the show just kind of fell off over the last 2 months, other than I'm a human too. And so while I've been adjusting and pivoting, this show kind of had to take a little bit of a back seat, and you'll understand here why throughout the episode. But I do appreciate you. Maybe you've been catching up on our daily episodes since January. The show went off January 1, 2026, and we did daily episodes every day of the week, just about all the way up through June. So it was about 6 months of episodes if you're a binge person. And and so we're back. So the last I left you, if you're a details person, because honey, we are sitting for the iced coffee, we're sitting for the Cosmo, we're sitting for a drink, a beer across from one another right now. That's what I want this to look and feel like. Catch me up to speed. What have I missed? And I've had to say that to a lot of my girlfriends lately. I am in a season of voice notes where I'm connecting pretty much exclusively with my friends through voice note, FaceTime every once in a while, text messages, but heavy on the voice notes. My friends know me. That's a good way to connect. So in the beginning of June, I started working for a company called Pure Romance here in Cincinnati. Education, connection, pleasure without shame. That's a job where I'm on camera just about 2 to 3 days a week. And that was a huge learning curve for me. And I'm still getting acclimated to it. And that's a company that's made here. It's rooted here in Cincinnati as well, but it's a national company. And so they brought me on to help grow their live shopping program. And so I've been using my programming brain that I developed over the 10, 15 years that I was in radio, and I'm kind of growing that and taking that to the next level. So every day I wake up and I go to work, I actually walk to work quite a bit. The office is right across from Great American Ballpark, and I've been with this company now for just a skosh over 2 months. All of June, all of July, no, 3 months. 3 months has gone like that, right? And this has been a learning curve in so many ways, and a lot of them are, if not all of them, are positive, right? I have a job. I have a job that I walk to work where, I have friends in the office now that I've gotten past the awkward, I'm the weird new girl stage, right? And I've learned how to be on camera, which is not a skill set of mine. Being on a microphone in a radio booth is a very different experience than doing what we're doing right now. So I've developed that skill. I'm also growing in my career, which was something I didn't realize that I needed, right? The universe brought that into my life. I've been growing my programming skills, and I have a lot to learn. I have a lot to learn from the great people that I work with. I'm also learning about e-commerce and how e-commerce and entertainment play together. And so every day I have conversations about sex and intimacy with people like you. And the reason why I love this job is because the red thread through my life, and that's a phrase that I learned from Jill of Adventure Bright. Jill, if I happen to be finding you, it's been a couple of months. I can't wait to connect further. But she said, what are the red threads in your life if you're looking for a career coach? And the red thread of my life is that I make audio that feels like company. So whether we are talking about sex and intimacy or we're talking about the best restaurant to go to Cincinnati, I try to make it the same, but different. And I am enjoying this role so much because it is rooted in curiosity, at least for me. And I think there's a lot of curiosity and conversation to be had about sex and intimacy. So I wake up every day and I go to work where there are different toys and products and conversations. Like I sent a text to my girlfriends in my group text a couple of months ago. I say, every day I'm washing a different type of lubricant or personal moisturizer off my hands. That's what I'm dealing with every day. So what a really cool, unique way to bring those conversations that you might have already with your partner or with your group text to life. Or maybe you don't have them, but you're like me, the curious girl in the back that's like, wait a minute, what? So we do that every day. And if you're like, how do I watch this? Because this is like really interesting to me. It is live shopping. So if you've ever scrolled through TikTok or something and you're like, oh, they're selling something, we do this, but in a really graduated, elevated, produced setting where we include education with sex therapists and intimacy specialists and product experts and demos and reviews for education. So it's really, really cool. If you want to be a part of that conversation, that happens on our website at pureromance.com. And you can watch our live shows every day at 3 and 9. There's a live shopping tab. Some of this makes its way onto my social media. I try to be, I don't want to say cautious, but I am involved in a few other things in my life. So I try to make the conversation enough where you can relate to, where it's not my entire personality and identity, which is another reason why I've been fairly quiet here on this show and just on social. in the month of June and July because I was really getting my feet wet. And before I invite you into the product, I typically like to figure out what's going on. Like let's see where we're at. So a week or so into that job that I felt so deeply in my soul, I was like, this feels right. And maybe you've been there too, where you're like, I don't know. It hasn't fully revealed itself to me on what this is going to bring into my life, but there's something about it that feels right and I want to take advantage of it. That's where I was at with this job. So it is very much still under construction and growing in the best ways. So about a week into that, I got a call from a radio company here in Cincy that I used to compete against when I had Tiff in the Morning on iHeartRadio. If you're a details person and you love the facts, iHeartRadio is one company in Cincy. There are a few. Another company is Hubbard Radio. And when I was laid off in October, we had some conversations very early on within a week of me being laid off. They never came to fruition. They never went anywhere. I was going to Asia for the month of November, and I really wanted to take some time to figure out what the next graduated, elevated version of Tiffany looked like beyond chopping my hair. What was that? So fast forward 8 or 9 months later, I'm a week into my new job, and this radio station, Q102, if you're rooted in Cincy, you know what it is, said, hey, we might have something for you. And I was fully prepared to go in there and say, I can't take this. I accepted a job in a new industry that I'm very excited about and committed to. And I really am more so here out of just curiosity and respect. And we had some really great conversations in this radio meeting. And I asked, of course, you know me, a ton of questions. I said, what's the deal? Some of my friends that used to work here no longer do. Like, what's this station about? What's this radio company about? What's this job about? And we had some really delightful conversations about where we think the industry for radio, where is that going? What is its value, not just on a national entertainment level, but locally, specifically here to Cincinnati. And at the time, my boss didn't know that I was ingrained so deeply in the programming chain at my former company. And she had some really lovely things to say about that. And I was very humble, very honest. It was a wonderful connection moment. And she said, well, the current show that is filling the 11 to 3 spot is leaving, is going off to do other things in their life. And so it is part-time. It's part-time pay. It's part-time hours. It's part-time work. And it's all I have to offer you right now. Would you be interested in it? And at that point, I had disclosed that I had a full-time job, and so let me take some time to think about it. And so I did, and I sat with it for a while. Do I take on 2 companies at the same time? Both of them offer they require so much energy and effort, and as do most companies that you're working for, right? And they both deserve time and focus. And is this something that I can do, right? At that point in my head, I had fully walked away from the idea of being on radio because it didn't sustain me in the direction that it was heading in my former company. It no longer sustained my needs, wants, desires, goals, and where I was going. But my gut feeling came up again, and I sat on it, and I thought, how can I, if there's a world in which I can make things work, how do I make them work? And I kind of laid out my stipulations, and they were happy to have me. And I'll tell you, being back on the air, which you can hear me every day on Q102 from 11 to 3, has brought a lot of joy, and it's great. And I'm very lucky that God and the universe have really opened the right doors for me. And that's something I want to pause here at this moment. If you got the tea, you got the details. If you have any more questions, feel free to send them my way. But I do want to pause there for a second and say that if you're going through change and growth and transition, you have to constantly remind yourself that things are working out for you the way that they're supposed to. I believe that there are two types of people in this world, and of course, a few gray areas in between. You are either walking in that direction, or you are angry and you are scared and you are worried and you are concerned. You can make the choice on whatever one works for you, but I chose to believe that I had to trust the previous blueprints of my life that have proven that everything has worked out the way it's supposed to. Whatever phrase you want to insert here, what is meant for you will not pass you. Everything is always working out for me. These are ones that I've had to repeat to myself. And I had no choice but to trust that what was meant for me would not pass me. And so during that big swing of not having employment or a ton of direction other than this show and my audio storytelling business that I was getting off the ground, which has also since paused, I had no choice but to just kind of keep walking in the direction that I thought was right. And so I will lean on that same phrase that I have been saying on this show for the last 6, 7, 8 months. If you don't know what is next for you, get curious and then just continue to follow the breadcrumbs. Follow them wherever they may take you. But that's a good place to kind of pause and reset. Just if you are uncertain of what's next, or maybe you are kind of certain, right? I am brushing up against the next version of myself. And we have had a lot of conversations about this change, right? Even having a job and something to look forward to and show up to every day. And I'm still very much learning how to be in the corporate world, by the way. I told you that I'm the office weirdo. I've probably broken some office rules, and my company has been very flexible and understanding, and I very much appreciate that. But even then, when I started this job, I found myself still mourning the version of myself from 7, 8 months ago. I mean, I was constantly looking at pictures of where I was at this time last year. I've since gotten better at it, but sometimes change, and actually a lot of the time, change is just thrusted upon you. It's just given to you. And I say, especially if you're in your 20s, your teens, and your 30s, you might have a little bit more experience on me if you're in your 40s and beyond, but you are just building blueprints for your life in every situation. A lot of those situations are change. And I am still brushing up against this new version of myself and tying a bow around the last version of myself. And I don't always get it right, day by day, it's improving, right? So I have these 2 new jobs that fulfill me in different ways, but they are different. And it takes a while, to settle in and adjust to a new life to the point where you're like, this feels good. And sometimes you don't always get to the finish line of that, this feels good before it changes again. And sometimes you do. And I would love for you to hold this close to your heart, that if you are in a point of your life and you wake up and you're like, this feels good, remember it, hold on to it, print a picture of it and frame it. I have one on my desk right here. In fact, I will introduce it to you if you've never seen it. This was me in the summer of last year on a tiki boat. And I remember being like just blissful. I was in a great relationship. My friendship relationships were thriving. My job was doing well. My community was good. And I was like, yeah. And those are, I think life does this that I've learned. When you have that version of yourself, hold on to it. Live in it. Soak it up. Be with it. And if it comes and goes, know that, again, you'll either get it back, but it will be a different version. And so I was thinking of you on that one. Yeah, where else do we want to go with this? Yeah, I read something. I think it was by Henry Thoreau. Is that his name? There's this little tile card that sits on my coffee table that it says, drink in every season. Eat the fruits of that season and like simply be like where you are, because it will all change and pivot. So even with a ton of good news, there's still a ton of growth. So if you're curious about the mechanics of this, I wake up every morning kind of at my morning show time, and then I do my show for Q102, which you then listen to from 11 to 3, and then I go to my full-time job at 9 a.m. and I get out of that job in the afternoon. I'm just like you, where I commute to and from work now during work hours, and then I'm in a season of coaching field hockey for Ursuline Academy up in Blue Ash. These jobs all fulfill me in different ways. I went from having tons of free time to zero free time, which hence is where we circle back to really relying on voice notes with my girlfriends. I was actually very honest and transparent with them, and I invite you to do the same with yours. I don't want to be forgotten, and I don't want my friends to think that I can't I'm not showing up for them. I simply just have a very short bandwidth in which I can do that for the next couple of months. So I warned them all, hey, I'm going to be reaching out to via voice notes so that we stay connected, but I really won't be seeing much of you, or I won't be really available as much as I'm used to being available. Yep. So after my full-time job, I go up to Blue Ash and I coach, and that'll take me through October. So where does that leave you and I today? I'm actually not sure. This Morning with Tiff Potter is ours. It is a daily companion audio show, like I said, that's rooted here in Cincy. It's pretty much rooted in the now. So if you were to listen to this when the episodes come out, typically at 8 a.m., it would be talking about things that you would be seeing on social media at that moment. I don't know where to go with it from here. I don't know if I want to continue down that road or pivot, right? I don't have the bandwidth at this season to wake up and do the show before I do my radio show. But I'm wondering, is there a world where we can tie them together somehow, right? A little bit more of long format content, which you're used to from this show and maybe my previous morning show. I haven't quite developed what Q102 is going to look like yet. So I don't know. Like I said, this was a show that would come out at 8 a.m. weekdays, and it would be grounded in what was happening around you in that moment. Do you want that still, or do you just like having content? Should I batch some 10 to 15, 20-minute episodes on a Saturday or a Sunday and set them out for the week? Should we do small mini series where we talk about the top 5 things I learned from job loss? Like, that's one example. What would this show mean to you as we continue it into season 2? We've officially wrapped up season 1, and now I'm leaning on you on where we're going to go with this and what direction that's going to go in. So it would mean the world to me if you either sent me a message, a DM, if you commented here, if I may be finding you. Where am I finding you? And where do we want to take this? It's ours. I would love to continue to do it. My bandwidth, like I said, to do it in the mornings isn't where I need it to be for that to be successful. But how are you consuming this show? Do you like it at 8 a.m.? Do you like just chit-chatting for 15, 20 minutes a day on whatever? It doesn't matter what's trending around you in that moment. So please feel free to help me. Really, transparently, I could use it. I am thinking of you, though. I have been for quite some time. I felt actually incredibly guilty about not being here. And I know that there might be a chance in your life where you're feeling the same thing for different reasons. And just know that I will always meet you wherever you are, and that you've got a friend in me. So that is a good place to leave it for now. That's where I've been. Oh my God. But just know that I am thinking of you. And thank you for inviting me into your life, into the places that you love. Thank you for stopping by. I would love for the show to continue to be a modality for you to stop by. If we're not connected, at the Tiff, 2 F's, Potter Like the Wizard, there's going to be some links in my bio to get caught up on the things that you can be involved with every day that I'm doing. Q102 is one of them. They also have a voice note feature, so take advantage. I would love a world where this show and my radio show come together. That's kind of like my radio mechanic programming brain. I don't know how we're going to do that, but eventually we will continue. We will figure it out. All right. Thanks for stopping by. I've been thinking of you. I appreciate your patience as I adjust to this new season of my life, and I hope to talk to you